morning students, we are back to electrochemistry. Till now in the previous sessions we have seen about what is electrode potential, what is the standard reduction potential SRP, then what is standard hydrogen electrode, what is Daniell cell, how a Daniell cell is constructed. Then we saw about conductance, we saw about resistance, we saw conductivity, we saw resistivity, what is their units we saw. Then we saw how to relate your electrode potential or reaction potential with the Nernst equation, then with Gibbs free energy we saw. In the last session we saw about strong electrolytes. In that we saw about Kohlraas law of independent migration of ions. So today we are going to see about weak electrolytes. Depending upon the magnitude of conductivity, we have divided the substances into different categories. I am going to talk about weak electrolytes in today's session. So weak electrolyte like acetic acid, the degree of dissociation which we have studied in class 11, that is alpha. The degree of dissociation is less when the concentration is more. Okay. So a weak electrolyte like acetic acid, the degree of dissociation is less when the concentration is more. In that case, what happens to limiting molar conductivity? Your limiting molar conductivity changes because the degree of dissociation containing 1 mole of electrolyte is more. Okay. Then limiting molar conductivity will be increasing steeply as dilution proceeds, especially at lower concentration. You cannot calculate limiting molar conductivity when molar conductivity is concentration 0. When it is going to reach the concentration 0, it is not possible to determine limiting molar conductivity. Consider a case where you have infinite dilution. What is infinite dilution? Infinite dilution means concentration is 0. In this case, what happens to the dissociation of the electrolyte? The dissociation of the electrolyte is completed. So what happens to the dissociation constant alpha? Your dissociation constant alpha is 1. Now at low concentration, your conductivity measurement is very low. It is very difficult to measure conductivity at low concentration. So to calculate limiting molar conductivity, I am going to make use of Kohlraas law. This equation is going to relate my molar conductivity with the limiting molar conductivity. What is alpha? Alpha is nothing but dissociation constant. So alpha is equal to molar conductivity by limiting molar conductivity. I am going to substitute the value alpha here. C alpha square by 1 minus alpha. We have studied elaborately about this in class 11. So we have done with weak electrolytes. What happens in weak electrolytes? When degree of dissociation will be less at high concentration, there is one condition, that is in infinite dilution, your concentration is 0, dissociation is complete, your alpha will be 1. What is the final Kohlraas equation to determine your limiting molar conductivity? This equation is going to relate your molar conductivity with the limiting molar conductivity. Now what is the application of Kohlraas law? Using Kohlraas law, you can measure limiting molar conductivity. Once you know limiting molar conductivity, then determination of molar conductivity at a given concentration is possible. Once you know molar conductivity, once you know limiting molar conductivity, then measuring alpha becomes easy. Okay, we have finished about strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. Next I am moving to electrolytic cell. We have already seen in the beginning of the session what is the definition of electrolytic cell. Any cell which converts electrical energy to chemical energy is called as an electrolytic cell. In an electrolytic cell, I will be supplying an external source. That is, external source is nothing but voltage. When I give voltage, then electrical energy will be converted to chemical energy. So this chemical energy plays an important role. It has a lot of industrial applications and laboratory applications. I am just showing you a simple electrolytic cell. I have got 2 electrodes. The electrodes are dipped in the electrolyte solution. Here I have got 2 copper strips. The 2 copper strips are dipped in the copper sulfate solution and I am applying a DC voltage. Once the current is on, what happens? In the cathode, copper ions will be deposited. This is nothing but our reduction reaction. What happens at the anode? Your copper will be oxidized at the anode. This is the basis of electrolytic cell. Using this basis, we are going to purify metals. Say for example, using the basis of electrolytic cell, I am going to obtain pure copper from impure copper. So for this case, impure copper will be placed in anode and pure copper will be placed in the cathode. If I pass current, what happens? Copper will be deposited in the cathode, pure copper will be deposited in the cathode and copper will be oxidized in the anode. So how I got purified copper, in the same way I will be getting purified sodium, magnesium, aluminium. I will be getting pure metals of sodium, magnesium and aluminium by means of this electrochemical reduction. Because for electrochemical reaction of oxidized sodium getting converted to reduced sodium, there is no proper reducing agent. So we will be using electrolysis to get purified metals. Done. Then the scientist Michael Faraday, he studied the quantitative aspects of electrolysis. Based upon his study, he devised two laws. What is that? First law of electrolysis, second law of electrolysis. They are otherwise called as Faraday's first law and Faraday's second law after the name of the discoverer Michael Faraday. What is first law? See, I told you chemical reaction is happening in the electrode. The amount of chemical reaction that occurs in any one of the electrode, let it be cathode or let it be anode. So what is the first line? The amount of chemical reaction occurring at any one of the electrode. Why your electrolysis, how it is happening, how chemical reaction is happening? Chemical reaction should happen by two ways. What are the two ways? Electrolysis should happen. When electrolysis will happen? When I pass the current. So done. So amount of chemical reaction produced in any one of the electrode by electrolysis by passing current is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity which is passed through the electrolyte. This is your first law. What is second law? Amount of different substances produced or liberated by same quantity of electricity which is passed through the electrolyte is directly proportional to chemical equivalent weight. What is chemical equivalent weight? Chemical equivalent weight is equal to atomic weight divided by number of electrons required to reduce a cation. So what is second law? Different substances are liberated. How different substances are liberated? By same amount of electricity which is passed through the electrolyte. To which it is proportional? It is proportional to chemical equivalent weight. What is first law? Chemical reaction taking place in any one of the electron by the amount of current which is passed through the electrolyte should be proportional. Okay? Yes. Yeah. See, next we are coming to the we have seen first law and second law of electrolysis. We have seen first law of Faraday's first law of electrolysis, Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Now we are going to see the product of electrolysis. What is the next subtopic? Product of electrolysis. What is Q? Q is nothing but charge passed through an electrolytic cell by the process of electrolysis. What is Q? Q is quantity of electricity passed or quantity of charge passed. Where it is passed? To electrolytic cell. What is the process? Electrolysis. So that is called as Q. This Q is equal to I into T. What is I? I is nothing but current. What is the unit of current? Amperes. What is T? T is nothing but time. What is the unit? Seconds. So done. So amount of electricity or amount of charge which is required for your oxidation and reduction reaction depends on the stoichiometry of a reaction. Okay, I am repeating. What is Q? Q is quantity of electricity or quantity of charge passed. Where it is passed? To electrolytic cell. What is the process involved? Electrolysis. So what is the product? IT. What is I? Current in amperes. What is T? T in seconds. So amount of electricity or amount of charge which is required for oxidation and reduction reaction to occur depends on one parameter. What is that parameter? It depends on the stoichiometry of a reaction. Consider this reaction. See, silver, that is Ag plus E minus gives Ag. So what can I infer from this equation? my silver is requiring 1 mole of electron to get reduced. Okay. See the second case, magnesium ions. Magnesium ions require 2 electron for its reduction. What is the third case? Aluminium. Aluminium requires 3 electron for its reduction. So I have given you 3 examples. While silver is requiring 1 electron, magnesium 2 electron, and aluminium is requiring 3 electron for its reduction. We know already what is the charge of an electron. What is the charge of an electron? It is 1.6021 into 10 power 19 coulombs. Now, what is the charge of 1 mole of electron? Whenever the term 1 mole comes, immediately what should strike? We have to remember Avogadro number. So, to know the charge of 1 mole of electron, I have to multiply Avogadro number with the charge of 1 electron. What is Avogadro number? 6.023 into 10 power 23. So multiply your Avogadro number with the charge of the electron. I will be getting the final answer as 96487 C per mole. Okay. So what is this? This is called as Faraday's constant. So I have done. Next is product of electrolysis. Product of electrolysis depends on 3 parameters. It depends upon the nature of material which is to be electrolyzed. It depends upon the type of electrode used. Then it depends upon the oxidation reduction reaction, and it depends on SRP, that is standard reduction potential. Apart from the types of electrodes which we have seen previously, there are mainly 2 types of electrodes. First electrode is inert electrode. The second electrode is reactive electrode. What is inert electrode? As the name indicates, it will not participate in the chemical reaction. Then what is the role of inert electrode? It will be acting as a source of electrons, or it will be acting as a sink of electrons. So that is the role of inert electrode. Your reactive electrode is the opposite of inert electrode. So what is the reactive electrode? The name itself is indicating that it is reactive. Since it is reactive, it participates in the chemical reaction. Okay, done. Now I am going, apart from this too, I want to tell you what is overpotential. What is overpotential? Normally, electrochemical reactions perform. They will be performing normally. So I can tell that they are feasible. But you know, under low voltage supply, they are kinetically slow. So in those cases, I will be supplying an external voltage that is called as overpotential. So normally some electrochemical reactions are feasible, but under low voltage they are kinetically slow. In order to accelerate the reaction, an external voltage is applied, that is called as overpotential. Now consider the reaction sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is an electrolyte. It dissociates to give you Na plus and Cl minus. This is a normal reaction. This is a redox coupled reaction, because in this reaction both oxidation and the reduction occurs. Now consider what happens at the cathode. In the cathode a reduction happens, that is Na plus electron gives Na. This is a reduction reaction. Okay. So only this reaction happens in cathode? No. There is a competition between this reaction and the second reaction, that is hydrogen plus electron gives half H2. Since there is a competition between these 2 reactions, which reaction will be dominated? A reaction whose electrode potential is more, that reaction will be preferred. Now, for this reaction, what is the electrode potential? It is minus 2.71. For this reaction, the electrode potential is 0.00. So, which reaction is having higher electrode potential? This reaction is having higher electrode potential. So, this is preferred. So, only from this reaction you are getting hydrogen? No, you will be getting hydrogen from the dissociation of water also. So, water dissociates to give you hydrogen and OH minus. So, what is the net cathode reaction? You have to sum up these 2. So, what is the net cathode reaction? These 2 summed up to give me this reaction. So, we have done with cathode. So, in cathode, which reaction is preferred? A reaction whose electrode potential is high, that is preferred. What happens at the anode? In anode, your chloride will be oxidized. What is the reaction? Cl minus gives half Cl2 plus E minus. Now who is the competitor reaction? Your water dissociation. Two water molecules dissociates to give you 4H plus 4 electron oxygen. Okay. So there is a competition between these two reactions, between your oxidation of chlorine and between your dissociation of water molecule. Now what will you say? Which one will be dominated? Which one will be preferred? In cathode I told you reaction having higher oxidation potential, I mean higher electrode potential will be preferred. But in anode what happens? Reaction where the potential is less, that will be preferred. So just observe the two reaction. In oxidation of chlorine, the electrode potential is 1.36 volts. What happens to the dissociation of water? It is 1.23. So what did I say for anode? For anode, lower electrode potential is preferred. So you will be telling me, ma'am, this reaction will be preferred. But it is not so. Before going to the product of electrolysis, I was telling about the reactive, inert and overpotential reaction. In this too, as far as the theory concerned, I will be telling you this reaction is preferred because this has got lower electrode potential. But that won't happen. Why? Because of the overpotential of oxygen, only this is preferred. Understood? So in cathode, which reaction is preferred? Reaction having higher electrode potential. In anode, which reaction is preferred? Reaction having low electrode potential is preferred. So here, because of over potential of oxygen, I have crossed this and I have taken this reaction as a preference. Now what is the net reaction? NaCl plus water giving these are the products. So we have seen in today's session, we have seen about weak electrolytes. Then we saw about a normal electrolytic cell, a construction of normal electrolytic cell. We saw Faraday's laws. Then we saw product of electrolysis. In the next session, we will be seeing about battery, primary battery, secondary battery, hydrogen economy and corrosion. Thank you.